All right, I have a strategy for profit here. I got 5 tips for a profitable 2021 while we are investing in sports. Guys, this is Sports Gambling Daily. My name is Jared, aka The Coach. And what I try to do here is find angles and edges that we can exploit for maximum profitability. Our goal is to make the bookie cry on a daily basis. So if that's something you're interested in, if you're looking for a winning strategy, if you're looking for help, if you're looking for any kind of sports betting strategies and tips, this is the right place. Come on in, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into this content where I got 5 tips for a profitable 2021. Let's go. All right, I'm going to share some tips and strategies on how I've become a successful sports bettor over the last 20 years. And I've had to follow some exact principles, some things that it took me a while to learn, and I'm going to share that knowledge with you right now. So the number one piece of advice I could give you if you are looking to become a professional sports bettor, if you're looking to be successful over the long term, if you're looking for any kind of consistency winning in sports, well, the first thing you got to do is stop parlaying. Yeah, I said it. Stop making those parlays, guys. They are some of the worst bets you can make. Overall, yeah, you might win a day, you might win a week, you might win a month, but over the long run, you are not going to win consistently with parlays. If you're somebody that bets like 10, 20, 30, even $100 to win $100, look, over the long run, you are going to lose. They are a sucker's bet. They are fun, but it's literally, it's just like playing the lottery. So if I had to give you my top advice, how not to bleed your bankroll out, it'd be to stop betting parlays. Stick to straight wagers. And let's go on to tip number 2. Okay, tip number 2 to be able to win in 2021 while we're investing in sports. It's simple, guys. And this is going to sound backwards, but for us to be able to win and win consistently, we have to learn how to lose. That sounds crazy, right? But it is true, and this is by far one of the biggest tips I can give you guys. Learning how to lose will set you up for how to win. The best sports bettors in the world win at a clip of 60%. You can be profitable anything over 52.4%. So if you hit 52.4% of your bets, that means you're losing 48.8% of your bets. That's a lot of losing, and that's a lot of winning, right? But it's the winning that we can handle. It's the losing that we can't handle. And if you go on tilt every time you see, somebody give up something, that if the shortstop throws it over the first baseman's head and it costs the game for you, or if you had the Brooklyn Nets and next thing you know, the Washington Wizards score 8 points in 8 seconds and you just lose your mind, and then you're like, oh, I want to get it back. That is an issue. And that's something you have to check yourself with. You cannot play sports that way. This has to be cold, calculating. If you have problems going on tilt and being emotional, then you have to not watch the games. And I know that sounds awful, but it is true. It would do whatever it takes to not get emotional. All this is just an investment. Yeah, you like watching the game, you like having action on the game. But if you want to be a professional, if you want to win and you want to cash out on your bookie on a routine basis, look, all it is business. You can't be mad if somebody messes up, just like you can't be that excited when someone messes up and you win. It goes both ways. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is going on tilt is by far the biggest single bankroll killings. It's the silent killer when it comes to losing in sports. That's how you have a bankroll. The next thing you know, blowing it all on the next game. So be careful. Do not go on tilt. If you have to, do not watch the games, and be as cold and mechanical as possible when it comes to investing on sports. Okay, tip number 3 is pretty simple here, but it also kind of correlates with tip number 2. And it is know what variance is, and also do not chase your losses. Okay, let's talk about chase your losses real quick. Look, whatever you did in your previous game that you bet, let's just say you lost 2 units on a college football game. that result should have nothing to do what you are going to do in your next investment. So, for example, let's say you're down 2 units in college football, and you either bad beat or not, whatever happened, you lost, right? So you're down. The last thing you should be thinking about is how to get that money back. You just need to move on. There's plenty of games every single day to take advantage of. Don't let the bookie get you by you making a rash decision by betting Hawaii football at 11 p.m. Eastern time, which that game wasn't even on your radar. Now, you might, so in this example, let's say you're down 2 units, you bet 2 units just to break even on the Hawaii over in the college football game, and you hit. Well, that teaches you that's a negative reinforcement there. And if you continue to do that over the long run, you are going to go broke. Here's the thing, nothing that you bet, no matter what your bet was, it shouldn't have no effect on what your future bet is. So if you're down 2 units, the next bet is as if those 2 units gone never happened. Each bet has to be individual of each other. Now, you guys, you have to understand what variance is. Variance is basically, look, what we try to do is we try to hit at a certain clip. Let's say, for instance, our goal here is to hit at 55 or maybe even 57% on the year. There's going to be times when we're going to have things that just don't make sense that happen, stuff that you can't cap. For instance, I don't know, let's say you were betting on the Bulls and Zach LaVine blows his knee out or rolls his ankle in the first 5 minutes, and next thing you know, the Chicago Bulls get blown out. Well, you can't cap that. That's just the variance of the situation, or vice versa. It could be a positive thing for your investment. The Bulls might have been playing the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves lose Karl Anthony Towns for the game, and then now you have the win because the Timberwolves can't keep up with the Bulls. So it goes both ways. But the thing is it's going to go one way. You're going to losing streaks happen here. So you have to be careful not to get emotional. I keep going back to this emotional thing. If you get emotional, you're going to lose your money. You have to be as completely unemotional as possible. So that is my tip number 3. Let's get into tip number 4. Okay, I got one more point I want to bring up before we get into tip number 4, and that is on variance. Let me, knock this out real quick. Okay, so I used to be a professional poker player back in the day, like 2001 through 2005 or 6 era. And, look, I learned so much about variance just by playing poker, and so much about not going on tilt during that stretch of my life. Now, so let me share an example, an analogy, if you will, when it comes to poker and variance that also correlates to sports investing. Okay, so if you are familiar with poker, you're definitely going to understand what I'm saying here. You can have the best hand in poker and still lose. That is called variance, especially if you get the money in. All right, let me just give you an example. I have pocket aces, right? And the guy across from me has, pocket tens. Okay. And whatever happened, we were able to go all in before the flop, which means I went all in with all my money. He went all in with his money. We flip over the cards and we see who is leading, who's winning at that time. So pocket aces obviously trump pocket tens pre-flop. All right. So there were no cards are on the table yet, just our pocket cards. So I'm like a 75, 80% chance to win this hand. And then what happens is, well, let's say he spikes a 10 on the turn or the river, wherever he hits a 10, I lose. Now, I came in with, over the long run, if we keep betting that, if that situation happens a million times over, I would be rich. But in that one particular case, I lose. So you have to, that shows you right there that, like, in sports terms, let's say you bet the Chicago Bulls and they're playing the Timberwolves. And Chicago is 75. So let's say there's 65% to win, but something happens and Minnesota wins. Well, you know what? You had the best of it going in, but you end up losing. So that's just the variance of it. If you bet that over and over and over and over again, well, you're going to win long term. So that's kind of an idea of variance in sports. Now, let's talk about tip number 4, and that is bankroll and how much you should bet per game. Now, this is simple. For me, this is something that I feel like is extremely important. And this is probably the number one question I get asked all the time in our private group. Jared or Coach, how much should I bet? How much should my bankroll be? What should I do? Okay, so I designed this strategy to try to combat the tip number 2 and tip number 3, which is variance and tilt. So I don't want to get emotional. I don't want to do any of those things. So I designed a bankroll system for us not, or at least try not to be emotional when it comes to this stuff. All right, so here it is, guys. In my opinion, and this is what I personally do, I have 100-unit bankroll. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, a unit is whatever you decide to bet. So for instance, for easy math, let's say your unit size is $100. That means if you have 100 units of $100, well, that's $10,000. What I suggest and what I personally do is I only bet 1% on each sporting event. So for instance, if I'm betting 3 games tonight and that is my bankroll and that is my unit size, then I would be betting a total of $300, $100 here, $100 there, $100 there. So 3 individual bets equals $300. Okay. I bet to, the reason why I do that is if I lose a unit, it doesn't kill me. It's only 1% of my bankroll. If I win a unit, well, you know what? I expect to win over the long haul. It is not sexy. It is not, you're not going to get rich quick. Let's put it that way. So that means if you have a $1,000 bankroll, well, guess what? In my suggestion, you should only bet $10. That's 1% of your bankroll. That way, it limits the risk of ruin. That also limits variance. You're going to go on a losing streak eventually. You're going to lose 9 in a row, and you're going to be like, you know what? We're good. Because if you have $1,000 bankroll and you're betting, I don't know, let's say you're betting $75 or $150 a game, you go on a 5-game losing streak. Well, hell, you're about ready to just go all in because you're pissed off. You're freaking out. You're worried. But if you grind it out, and if you're wanting to do this thing to make some passive income over the long haul, that's honestly, in my opinion, the only way you can do this. Now, some people do say, hey, do 2 to 5%, and that's fine. It's just a little more risk than I'm willing to do. And it's been successful for me over the long run, is take your bankroll, divide it by 100, and each one of those bets, each bet will be 1%. Now, if you get up 5% in your bankroll, then maybe you up your bet or readjust your 1%. So, for instance, let's just say I went from $10,000 to, so my bankroll is $10,000 to now I have $1,100. Well, maybe I bet $110 per game. That way you can continue to rise up the ranks. And then tip number 5, guys, this is one of my favorite tips. And this is not even a self-promotion thing. It is legitimately a great tool. Is you need to find a group of individuals that are like-minded like you. Everybody that is trying to win, everybody that wants to do nothing but break the bookie and put some extra cash in your pocket. I do have a private group just like that. It's free to join. The link is in the description. We almost have 1,900 members in that group. So definitely you need to come check it out. It's kind of a support group. We're all in there trying to work together and we're all rooting each other on. So that is very, very important in success going forward. Look, no bettors are against each other. It's all of us versus all of them, right? So it's us versus the bookies. So come on in and join the SGD Army. Like I said, it is free to join. I'm not asking you for any money. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I post free pick videos every single day. I give you my leans and I give you where I'm giving my breakdowns of my leans every single day in most professional sports. So definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. If you have any information that I might have missed or any information that you think that is important, by all means, please leave that in the comments down below. And like always, guys, let's keep cashing those tickets. Let's have a successful 2021. And I'll see you in the private group. Thanks for watching. Peace.